Andy Scott, a few days on, do you still reflect on Torquay as a missed opportunity?
Yeah, I think so. You know, we're looking at the game as a whole, and you know, we didn't start very well. Obviously, conceded a poor goal, and you know, they were a side who were trying to hang on for the win and wasting time and making life difficult. But we're going to find that against teams this year, that they know we're a good side and they're going to make life difficult. And if they get something to hold on to, it's going to make life, you know, more strained for us. So we've got to start games better. We have done, in fairness. The other 4 games we started very well, and that was the first time. You know, whether we look at, you know, the travelling and how we prepare for it. You know, obviously we travel down a day, which is fine. Maybe we've got to get to the ground a little bit earlier and have a walk and let lads have a bit more of a stretch and get the legs going, and maybe look at the warm up. But that's something that, you know, that we wouldn't know until it's happened. So in hindsight, we'll look at, you know, we could look at that. But in terms of performance, the reaction was very, very good. The attitude of the players in the second half, and also once we got the equaliser, we didn't sit and think, well, we got something out of it now. We kept pushing forward, and that's the mentality that we wanted to instill this season, and it seems that the players have reacted to that positively. And you know, just spoke to a few of the players now, and you know, they're disappointed where the points total we've got, which after the start we've had is encouraging as well, that they realise that we're close to being one of the sides that could be up there in the playoffs. But the fine points in the game, the small margins make the difference, and we've conceded too many goals from set plays, and that's cost us at the moment. And you know, no matter how much we work on it, it's about the players, you know, putting it into practice once the game's going.
As you said on Monday, lessons to be learned, but the quality is there in abundance. Yeah,
that's right, and we're pleased that, you know, we've got near enough a full side squad available. We've got options on the bench now, which you know, showed on Monday. You know, with the games that come thick and fast and some very physical games, but you know, we're able to change it. If people aren't performing or people get injured, then we can change the personnel we've got and change the dynamic of the side, and you know, that's important, you know, that we can do that. You know, but it's some very encouraging things so far this season. Obviously we know we've still got things to work on, and we're not anywhere near the finished article, but the early signs are encouraging.
And you talk about a quick start in Grimsby's last 2 games where they've scored 13 goals. That's been built on scoring early goals. That lesson needs to be learnt to avoid that happening a third time for them.
Yeah, well, in any game, any level, if you start fast and you've got the impetus on your side and the momentum, then it makes life difficult for the opposition. And you know, they've gone goal crazy the last 2 games, but you know, against Gateshead, who are obviously a very, very good side, and Alfreton, who are very, very tough to play against last year and are having a tough start to the season. It's no mean feat. So, you know, I'm looking forward to the game. I really am. You know, I think that it'd be 2 good sides going for it, trying to win the game. Grimsby, you know, they've been in the playoffs the last 2 years, and they want to go forward to make the promotion. They're a lot of people's favourites to go up. And you can see why. They've got strength in depth now. They've got a few players back from injury, and that's shown in the last few games that they've picked up the wins. So they're unbeaten this season, but it's another good challenge for our lads and for us as a group to go and lay a marker down of where we are with our squad and how strong we're going to be this season against the top sides.
But they started with 3 draws, only scored 1 goal in those 3 games, and people thought they were struggling, and now suddenly they've scored 13 goals. It's maybe the real Grimsby side is somewhere in between.
Well, I think, yeah, it's significant. They've probably got 4 or 5 players back from injury, and you know, certainly at this level, losing 4 strong players, as we found out last year, you know, really does affect your side and affects the way you play and the quality that you've got. So for them to get those players back is clearly a key factor for them. You know, we might have got them at the time when they've got players back, but you know, we can't pick and choose when you play teams. And you know, we gave them a tough game down last year. Brett missed a penalty that got us right back into the game, and they went on to win the game. But we gave them a good test, and obviously we had the first game of the season up there where we got a good draw and probably could have won the game as well. So, you know, Paul knows that they'll be in for a tough one. We've just got to make sure we start fast and dictate the play ourselves. And defensively we're going to have to be sound, we know that, and improve on set plays and areas where we need to look at. But going forward, we still need to get more bodies in the box, and we still need to convert the chances that we're creating. But we look at a threat. Whenever we get the ball, we've got some pace about us. We've got strength, and we've got some passing ability in midfield that can pick players out. So all in all, it's teed up to be a really good game, really interesting game, exciting game, and we should get another good crowd down here.
And as we keep saying, it's up to the opposition to worry about Aldershot Town's qualities as well.
Yeah, clearly. I mean, every game we assess the opposition, we look at who they're playing, how they play, and what their strengths and weaknesses are. But the main emphasis is on what we do. We work on all week on how we play, and we make pointers on the opposition, and where they can get us and where we can get at them. But it's mostly about how we play and making sure we do what we do well. And I think that when we've shown, particularly things like the first half against Forest Green, when we're playing well, then there's not many sides that can live with us. And but the consistency is important, and we've had that on the whole this season so far, and we just got to keep going. And I just said to the lads after every the game so far, it's about churning out the performances. It's about just ticking that one off and getting on and doing the next one, and making sure that we're consistent in our performances, and the results will come. And I think that the lads are really appreciating the fact that they've got to do that, and they know that there's strength in depth, and there are players that can come in that want to prove that point as well. So it keeps everyone on their toes.
And that was going to be my final question. There are a few interesting decisions for you to make on the starting 11 in several positions.
Yeah, we've obviously looked at the tapes from Torquay and the other games, and we know how Grimsby play, and obviously being at home, we want to take the game to the opposition, and we're always looking at improving and how we can develop the side, and we're still learning about some of the players that we have got and the qualities they've got in the side, and that might mean that we have to adapt a little bit with other players and move people around. So, but the ability to be able to do that is one that is nice to have. We haven't. It's the options that we've got. Players are chomping on the bit to be playing. The lads that came on did themselves no harm at all, and the lads that have been playing, they know they've got to be on their game to stay in the side. So, it's encouraging. There's no one sulking. Everyone's wants to play, and everyone's doing everything they can. They're working extremely hard in training to be ready to play, and that showed on Monday when they came off the bench. They were both Fitch and Joe and Gesson were excellent. They were lively. They posed a problem to the opposition, and that's what we wanted. That's what we asked of them, and that's all they could have done. So that was pleasing. And then so I've got some decisions to make for Saturday. But whoever's selected, I'm sure will put in a performance that's up at the standard that we've been putting in there, and we will look for another win.